Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hypnosis Hero, the show where you get to be the hero. We have a guest hypnotist hero each week. If you want to be your own hypnosis hero, please download the Hypnosis Hero app in the Android Play Store. Sorry, iOS still coming soon. I'm your host, Jim Kellner, joined by the lovely, the wonderful, the splendid Shawn Kostiuk. Hello, Shawn.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. We're almost sort of melting snow up here. Almost, sort of.
Yeah, the great northern territories.
Yeah, winter is giving way to second false spring.
Second false spring. Fantastic. So Shawn's up there in Canada, for those of you who don't know. Now, for those a long-time usual watchers, listeners, you'll notice that Brian Bay is not here tonight. He had a prior commitment, so he's not joining us tonight. And our regularly scheduled Hypnosis Hero for tonight was Benito Garcia. Unfortunately, he's had a family emergency. He's going to come back next Friday instead. He's going to join us right after a gig, Shawn. He's going to be doing a gig up in Cottonwood, Arizona. He's going to head to his hotel room and join us on Hypnosis Hero. Wherever you're watching from, listening from, please drop it down in the comments there. If you're a regular watcher, listener, please let us, please say your name so we know who you are. If you're new to the show, this is how it works. We chat a bit, and then we do hypnosis. So usually we have our Hypnosis Hero do the hypnosis, but tonight it'll be Shawn and I who are, hey, I guess, Shawn, we are the guest heroes tonight.
You know, you got to be a hero once in your life, you know.
That's right. I wonder if we can get the rights to one of those hero songs. I'm holding up for a hero in the I don't remember how it goes. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. Get on that. So we are going to use what's that?
Let me make a note.
Make a note. Yes.
Lisa and Alan are on. They're stranded in Minnesota. I saw Alan's post earlier.
MSP stands for Minnesota? Huh.
I think it was Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know what. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad you're stranded. I mean, I'm not glad you're stranded, Lisa, but I'm glad you're joining us. Hey, maybe you and or Alan will join us for Hypnosis Hero sometime. That'd be awesome. You know, Lisa is like one of the best kept secrets in hypnosis. You know, she looks like she just got out of hypnosis school, but she's actually older than she looks. And she's been doing this for, 20, 30 years, something like that. Crazy.
Yeah, Minneapolis. Oh, that was right. I knew I read that right.
That's right. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Funny story, Shawn. I went, I used to work for a company where I did sales, hated it, but I was pretty damn good at it. And I won tickets to the World Series. And I'm not a baseball fan. I'm not really a sports fan, but hey, it's a World Series. So technically 40 years, she said. So she is slightly older than she looks. So I took a friend with me. We went out to Minnesota. They were paying for our room and stuff. We stayed in a little suburb of Minneapolis, St. Paul. I don't know why they didn't give us a room in Minneapolis or Minneapolis, St. Paul. We were in a dry county. We went up to the front desk and said, "Hey, where can we go to get a beer?" And they're like, "Maybe the next city over." That was weird. It was like 30 years ago, so maybe it's changed. But I was kind of surprised. I didn't know there was such a thing as a dry county.
So, funny story. So I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada, for those of you that don't know whereabouts I'm at. But there were always rumors that Al Capone actually had, speaking of Prohibition, had a hideout in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And
Moose Jaw. I love your names up there.
Hey, listen, there's a lot better names. We can start naming body parts and things that happen after lovemaking.
Frostbite Willie.
But in Moose Jaw, we actually do have evidence that there are tunnels underneath the city.
Wow.
And they've now turned them into a tourist destination. But the one set of tunnels was Al Capone's. The others was actually a Chinese laundry. And the Chinese trade that we had going on in Canada when they were not valued as people. way back when. So, but yeah, the Al Capone, both, if you take both tours, it takes you about 2 hours, and it's well worth it because it gives you some insight into just how careful these guys were at making sure everything looked absolutely legit. Everything, evaded the law, was pinpoint accurate, and just that's what they had to do. So anyway, that was an aside.
No, good. That's what we're here to do, Shawn. You get to chat tonight. You don't have to just hide out in the background tonight and do stuff. You get to tell stories and everything. Shawn, I'm curious now. I kind of had this idea. If you're watching, tuning in for the first time, the last time, the first, second time, whatever, let us know you're listening, you're watching. It helps us to know. Otherwise, we just feel like we're talking to air and each other, which is not a bad thing. Hang out with my buddies on a Friday night. I'm trying to make this the Joe Rogan show of hypnosis. I just a guy hanging out with his buddies, doing like a 4-hour-long show. As soon as I get a more comfortable seat, I can only last about 2 hours in this chair.
We have these stores up in Canada. I think you have them too, called Staples. They have stores. They don't just sell staples.
Really?
But they do have staples, which is important.
Think I might find a chair at Staples? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yep.
Might have to look into it. This thing is hard plastic. The idea was that it would be a standing desk, and so I didn't really worry about the chair. But I get tired of standing after all day. I don't feel like air. Joe Baber says I don't feel like air.
Yeah, because we're apparently not talking to just air. We're talking to Joe and Lisa. And probably Alan too.
All right. So where were we? Yes. So let's see. If you're watching the show, please go download the Hypnosis Hero show. If you're a hypnotist, you're watching the show, please drop your link down below or your socials. Joe, Lisa, drop your socials down there. Shawn, drop your socials. Lisa, drop the link for boot camp if you'd like. I don't know if they're doing that in Centralia this year or not. They were doing it in Centralia last year.
Actually, I believe they've got 2 locations. Centralia was one of them, and I believe Fargo was the other.
Ah, Fargo, fantastic, good.
What
a great opportunity that is, because a lot of times you go get stage hypnosis training, and then they're like, okay, go find a show and do it, and you got to get up there all by yourself and try to do it. But they actually get you up on stage at a show that they're already doing, so you feel safe, comfortable, and all that good stuff. Good deal. Shawn, I want to bring this back to you because I had this impression. Nora Noble, of course, is watching, probably eating some pineapple pizza just to spite me during my very important.
Nora, you need to know I'm with Jim on this one. Jim and I are 100% pineapple free on pizza.
Solidarity. Even though he's Canadian, he doesn't buy into that. Crap.
Just because we invented it doesn't. We invented a lot of things that we don't use up here.
Because you know what, you shipped them off to us because you're like, here, give them to the Americans. They'll eat anything.
Well, the funny thing is, I think Canada is actually the testing ground for a lot of the things you guys get a few years later.
Is it?
Like we had the first bank machines. The very first bank machine, actually, here's another funny story. The very first bank machine was in a bank I believe it was in Saskatchewan, about 45 years ago.
Wow. Damn. Oh, we got to start putting these up on here. We got to see stranded in Minneapolis 45 years ago. Wow. St. Paul, technically 40 years. I don't even want to try to guess at how old Lisa is then. Joe, how you doing? Joe, is he a
Lisa is 29.
29. That's right. So she started when she was -11. Joe, are you a stage hypnotist or a hypnotherapist? I'm not sure. I don't know you very well. In the ministry. That's an interesting name. Cool. .org. Great man. LOL. Not sure who she's talking about. Surely me. Hypnosis Bootcamp. There it is. Yes. Centralia, Washington, and Fargo, North Dakota. So if you're listening later, everybody, we're putting the links up here. That's hypnosisbootcamp.net. What a great website name. That really tells you what it is. We've got Joe Baber over here with intheministry.org. Very cool name. We've got
And a
Nora
challenge
Noble.
from Nora. How about
How-
this, Jim? We just cut it off. You don't mention Nora at all, and I'll just say Nora Noble all night.
We're not gonna say it anymore. We're not gonna say that name anymore. In fact, I'm never gonna say that name again. Yeah, exactly. That's right. What's Joe saying? Isn't Canada our northernmost state? He's a therapist. You know, it's funny. I find it strange. I find it strange that we have to show a passport to go to Canada, and you have to show one to come here. It seems like we're brothers, we're sisters, whatever countries, and it just feels a little bit weird. But then I go up there, and it is like a foreign country. It really is.
We used to have a gentleman that came from. He was in North Dakota, actually. This is starting to sound like a North Dakota show. But he said the exact same thing. We worked together in the school division for about 5 years before he moved back to the States. And he said, the minute you hit the border, it's like a completely different language and no guns. They wouldn't let him bring his guns across because he was a pretty avid hunter. And so he kept his residence in North Dakota so that he could go back and hunt properly.
I was just watching something, some show. It's one of those border control reality shows. It's just a clip on like TikTok probably or something. And this guy was from Texas, and they asked him at the border, Canada, do you have any guns? And he's like, no. And then they searched him, and he found guns, and he's like, I'm in Texas. We're a no something like we don't have to admit to having a gun when you're in Texas or something. There's a technical term for it. And they're like, this is Canada, you know. What a chucklehead. It was funny. All right, so I want to know the story about Shawn, because you know what, Shawn? We even had a whole show about you, and this did not really come out. It seemed like maybe you'd only been doing hypnosis for a little while, but then you're talking to James Sellis, and you're like, yeah, yours was one of the first websites I would go to back in the 90s or something. Is that right?
Yep.
So Shawn, you you're like a Lisa. You're kind of a mystery. How long have you been doing hypnosis?
Well, it all started back in the last millennium.
Yeah.
No, really, it did. Growing up in Battleford, Saskatchewan, or just outside of it, there wasn't a whole lot to do. And until you were able to own a car and drive, and your parents weren't going to just drive anywhere, so really all there was for me was books. And so whatever books I could get from the local library, or if we happened to get into one of the larger cities and get a books from that library, that would be my reading as much as I could. And admittedly, it wasn't much. When I did actually get into university, I probably spent more time in the psychology section than I did in the education, College of Education, which is what I have done for the last 27 years or something like that. So, that was a real treat, because not only did I get books, I got good books. So, old manuals, like the really good, thick, dusty books that nobody would ever take out of the library, because, who studies hypnosis?
Right. Gotcha.
And so once my friends found out that that was a interest of mine, then it was every party. Come on, Shawn, you got to go do something. Hey, make them do this, and so on and so forth. That's where it started. And then in Canada, 3 years of arts and science, and then another 2 years for an education degree on top of that. So while I was doing my education degree, that's about the time that I was able to get in to see James's website. Wendy had a rudimentary website. I'm trying to think of who else had websites back then. Paul Knight would have had one. Those are places that I could go and see, and so for the little clips that were there, I got a real taste for how James would actually set up a bit and let it roll. So and it just it fueled the fire and kept it from not dying out.
Gotcha. And so for those of you who are watching, if you've got an Android phone, I just put up the the link. There you go. Go to this link. You can get the Hypnosis Hero app. iOS, I swear it'll come someday, but it's just more of a pain to get it done. And I'm working on some other projects. So, yeah. Don Spencer had sleepnow.com. What a great name for
That's
a
the other
website.
one. Yes, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. And I think his was like, it was hit and miss for me to get to it because universities at that time did do a little bit of filtering, and I know Don had a couple of clips that I think were at the Playboy Mansion. So
nice. Hold on. Sorry. Somebody, you know what? I don't understand this. Sometimes I can see people who they are. Sometimes I can't tell who they are. So if you're one of those people that
if they haven't, if you haven't granted Wave the ability to use your name and your face on Facebook, then it won't let you through. It'll just treat you as basically an unknown, an anonymous.
Anonymous. Okay, well, if you're out there, if you're the one that puts sleep now, let us know who you are or get Wave permission. Love to know who you are. So, been doing it for a long time. I know you've got a show coming up soon.
That's true. Actually, I was just talking to my friend. So we'll fast forward through the rest of it. 2014, it was that's when I actually certified with the American School of Hypnosis. I'm just looking at the certificate there, and it was really a response to I'm seeing people, they're stressed out, they're getting worse. There's nothing seems to be getting better for anybody, and so here's something that I know I can do that I can use to help them. So got some certification there, and then in getting into the Hypno Hustle group, and put a plug out for Scott and Lisa and you and everybody in that group. It was just kind of more fuel to the fire to say, you know what, get back out on stage, get back out on stage, get back out on stage. Lisa's number one thing, she'll tell you, I may even let her just post it there. Get on stage, do something. So I do have a show booked. I'm actually opening for a friend of mine who's a magician and has a larger company that of other magicians, musicians, and so on and so forth. So he's invited me to be part of it. And so June 23rd or 4th, whatever it is, second last Friday of June, we're on. I'm opening for him. And then just after that, I got a call from another friend saying, hey, are you doing your show this year? Yeah. He said, how much do you charge? So I gave him the number and he said, great. And then I said, what time frame are you looking at? Because I also know that I'm booked to go to that wonderful conference, Hypnothoughts Live, and see everybody there again. And he said, yeah, it'll be in July. I said, well, okay, just so you know, I'm not going to be available for these dates. No problem, he said. So sounds like I've got another show. I have a few of the principals around my school division that are now asking for fundraising opportunities. So there's lots in the works. It's just a matter of getting them there, and then making sure I get good video and so I can see what I'm doing, what I need to improve on. It's always good to make sure you have that. It's not just for insurance purposes; it's for learning purposes. As much as anything. So, and then if I can sell it afterwards, that's even better. So,
great, I love it. Yeah. Oh, that's Lisa.
Now the question is Nora looking forward to seeing me in Vegas, or is she looking forward to seeing you in Vegas?
You said her name. I can't believe you said it. You said
I didn't say all of it. I didn't say that's like saying Beetle without the juice.
Way to go, Shawn. She's looking forward to seeing everybody. Awesome. Okay, Shawn, what did you think about the school you went to? What'd you say called the American School of Hypnosis? Is that right?
Yeah, I had a pretty unique situation when I was looking for a school. I actually really wanted to go to the one that Scott Salmon had started, but it wasn't completely online. And there was no way that I could take a 6-month sabbatical from my job because I was the IT manager for the division. So that was out. So what I needed to have was something that was completely online, that I could do at my pace, and then work through it. And so that one actually fit the bill. It was one of the very first ones that I saw that were completely online. Of course, with the pandemic, lots of people have moved their schools online. It doesn't necessarily beat the in-person experience that you get.
Yeah.
And I will tell everybody, I go live with on TikTok Thursday nights with some other hypnotists one's from Portugal, living in Portugal, from South Africa. We had a guest from Scotland, which was really nice to hear the Scottish accent again. My granny was Scottish, so
nice.
so yeah, that was just a real treat. And turns out, actually, she's from the same town that my grandmother is from. So who knows? She could be like a great aunt, 16 times removed. Anyway, the school that I needed was it just needed to be online, because there was no way I was going to be able to travel. But what I do tell people all the time, and I've said it many times on that live, and I'll say it here as many times as you need me to. It doesn't matter what the certificate is. What matters is, are you keeping current? Are you still learning? Or have you said, to hell with everybody else, because I know everything? If you said, to hell with everybody else and I know everything, I'm not working with you. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not even a Canadian sorry. That's just sorry.
I have to admit, there was a time when I sort of had gotten this place where I'm like, I think I kind of know enough. And I mean, there is, you get to about, 90, you get 90% success rate, say, and you're like, are you really going to get me up to 92%, 95%, whatever? But you know what? It makes it interesting. Even if it doesn't improve your success rate, it keeps you, I feel like you probably kind of slide back. I felt like I was kind of sliding backwards. I was going, because I wasn't doing new things, and I don't know. It was, so I agree. You got to keep learning stuff. I did want to say something. So I didn't know Scott Sandlin did have a hypnosis school.
So they were on the way to creating that, and it was somewhere between HT Live being or just Hypnothoughts being the forum. And then there was some movement, and then it was gone. And then I heard about the conference. So I think it kind of morphed from one thing to another. And rightly so. I mean, there are not. Last year was my first year at Hypnothoughts. I will not say anything at all negative about that conference. It was an absolutely awesome experience.
Yeah.
It was more than I had expected. Let's put it that way. And it was really great to connect with people in person. I mean, you and I had seen each other online through TikTok and Hypno Hustle for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it was really great to actually see you in person, work with you in a class, and it was those are the types of things that make a conference really great, is the ability to just sit down with somebody and network. And then, of course, like I said, when I was in James's session there, just him, Anthony Gailey, guys that I maybe talked to on the phone or watched for years. It was just amazing to be able to. It was just amazing to be able to actually be in the same room with them and say thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we saw that again at the Performing Hypnosis Summit. Oh
yeah.
I call it the human moments. Those human moments, you just, there's just no words to describe them other than wow. So
I feel like for me, it was when going to Hypnothoughts for the first time was almost like going to the Academy Awards and seeing all your favorite actors. It's like, oh my God, I've been watching this guy online for a decade. I've read all this person's books and stuff, and it was just kind of an amazing experience. Yeah. It's funny. People, I think before they go, they just don't get it. They don't understand. And then, I've had several people that I was like, you got to go. And then afterwards, like, I should have gone. I wish I would have gone sooner. It was way more amazing than I ever could have guessed. It really is. It's just, you got to go, people. If you're a hypnotist, you got to go.
Yeah. No, 100%. And the one lady that I do go live with at Thursday nights, Chanel, wants to get into stage hypnosis, so that's why she was at the summit.
Cool.
and she had taken some of her training from the Jacquelines. So,
Nice.
and so, she wants to get there. Won't be able to get there this year, but I said, well, that's fine. Start planning for next year. Well, how do you know it's gonna? I know it's gonna be there. This is year number 11. They're gonna go to 12. There's no question.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you just plan for it because it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I think people should be going to as many conferences as they can. It's whatever's reasonable, but Hypnothoughts is a definite. It's the one you have to go to. Shawn, I'm glad to hear about your experience with learning hypnosis online, because I'm going to be, as soon as I've got my, so I have a website called Hypnotic Success Academy. I have some courses up there. I'm trying to update it. As soon as I get it all updated, I'll be offering, I'm going to be offering Roy Hunter's hypnosis, his whole year training. So I was wondering about teaching it online, if that's a fine way to go. And I think it's interesting because so many of us do hypnosis online now anyway. It just makes sense to learn online.
It expands your reach, but it also does another thing. And it has to be structured properly.
Yeah, sure.
You have to remember how people learn, right? It's small chunks. It's not I'm gonna record a great big hour-long lecture and have 14 boards and pull this board across and keep writing and you're gonna take notes. That's not the way people learn anymore. In fact, I think they said that the average, and it might have been Colin that posted this. I don't know. I'd have to double check with him, but the average attention span now is about 2.5 seconds less than a goldfish.
I believe it.
And so if that's the case, you need to be able to have a really good hook that's really shiny that they want with the right bait and structure it that way. So lessons need to be really chunked down. We're going to cover one concept. Boom, here it is. This is the concept. And then when you get closer to, what would be traditionally the end of the unit, then you can start pulling the strings together. And as you do that, then that to me is still the way that people online learn.
I think that's something we can learn from even the TEDx people, the TED Talk people started doing that a long time ago, just 18 minutes, and I think, 18 minutes is a great amount of time. And I try to do, when I'm doing a talk, I try to, even if I'm hired to do a 1 hour, I'm trying to go, 18 minutes and then kind of break it up with something, then 18 minutes and 20, something like that. Becca's on board. Hey, Becca. Thanks for reaching out to Benito. She actually hit up Benito on TikTok, told him he was famous because he's going to be on the world famous Hypnosis Hero show. If you're just tuning in now, like Becca maybe, Benito's going to join us next week. He's had a family emergency. Brian Bay had a other commitment, so he's not joining us. So tonight it's me and Shawn. Shawn, I got to tell you too, it's pretty cool you mentioned that school, because I'm going to put their link up there. The guy's name is like Renee or something like that, right?
Renee Bastarash, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I actually, years ago, I came across their website. I downloaded their free book. And anytime anybody hits me up, they're like, hey, I want to learn hypnosis. I always send them there. And I say, look, I'm not endorsing the school. I'm not saying it's a good school or a bad school. I don't know anything about it. But I know that they will give you a free book, 450 pages. And it is such a good book. It's such a great, it's got everything in there. It's got inductions. It's got scripts. It's got the theory of hypnosis. I mean, it's such a good book to download. It really is.
Yeah. You know what? And I guess the best thing for me was, everybody was still kind of transitioning. Nobody was really quite sure how to pace things. Scott here is saying good system, go with the 18 minutes and then switch it up. And I'd say, that's about the lesson that I would put. In fact, when we instruct our teachers to when they're building their lessons for online, it's 1 minute for, it's pretty much 1 minute for how old they are. So, if you're hitting a high school class, you're looking at about 15 to 20 minutes. So 18 would be a sweet spot for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd say is, if you can at all simplify it, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with concepts, and when people don't have that frame, the framework that we have and some of the learning that we've done, it really will take them a little bit to get through it. It'd be like learning math.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things too that's important, and luckily I'm not having to write the curriculum. Roy's already written it out. I just have to teach it. But when you're one of the things I notice is sometimes when I'm writing something, I have to remember that I know more than the people that are taking my class, right? So you've got to remember that you have a great breadth of knowledge about personal development, and personal growth and that kind of stuff. And some of these folks know nothing about it. So you got to really kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down, but it is dumbing it down because, but that's not a judgment.
It's really chunking it down, right? Like if I was to, here's a good one that will rile up every American. Who won the War of 1812?
How dare you? I'm going to say we did.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you the Canadians won because we've never lost a war.
Oh, wow. All right.
So, and yeah, I can tell you a lot. I'm a history teacher, so I've studied everything. And then if you want to get really technical, they would say it was a stalemate, and and then it depends on which battle you take at which time and when the treaty was actually signed. So, and it's all of that. But when you're looking at the War of 1812. Now you've got something that you can work with, because the perspective that you teach it from may not be the perspective I learn it from. Yeah. So that's why you need to kind of keep it simple and keep going down the straight line. So
yeah. So Becca popped on. She saw that Brian wasn't here, so she has to go back to sleep. Fine. Go back to sleep, Becca. Have a good night. Thanks for popping on, though. Benito will be here next week. Hey, we mentioned Hypno Hustle earlier. If you're a hypnotist, go join. Scott King there is the admin of that. It's a Facebook group. Go join it. It's got a bunch of hypnotists and really taken off lately. There's a lot of hypnotists in there. Kind of a mastermind type of a thing for hypnotists to hang out and get support, try out new ideas, find out stuff. So check it out. And we got Shawn's website there, skhypnosis.com. All right. Any requests out there for a certain kind of hypnosis you'd like to see or hear? We'll absolutely take that. We'll be doing some hypnosis here in just a little bit. Becca says LMAO. She knows what we're talking about. That's right. What else we want to talk about, Shawn?
Well, what about your history, Jim?
My history of hypnosis?
Yeah.
Or baldness, male pattern baldness?
Well, just because you're seeing me at the end of the week doesn't necessarily mean that it's not happening to me too.
I just shaved this morning. I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah, see, and I usually do either Saturday or Sunday just to make sure I'm good for the week. So,
gotcha. I try to go every other day because once it gets too long, then you got to break out the clippers, and otherwise I can just use the Bic. It's real easy. I was still watching for a little bit. I think I'm too addicted to watching you a lot all the time. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to be addicted to this show.
Yeah,
the Joe Rogan of hypnosis. We're gonna go bow hunting next week, Shawn, so we can talk about that. Right. So my history, I was a weird kid too, man. I was checking out the weird books at the library, over in psychology, parapsychology. Of course, it's in the same section I think as like fortune telling and all that stuff.
It's funny how they link it in there, and it must be related to the church and to the media and the way they portray it, because it's nothing like that.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's so funny. Two baldies. That's right. And the funny thing about being bald is I was always afraid of it. I would go to, I don't know about you, Shawn, but I would go to the barber. I had really thick curly hair actually. And I would go to the barber and they go, "Oh, you never have to worry about being bald. I'm going to go back and sue him now." But my grandfather was bald by the time he was about 21 or something. And I was always worried about it. and it started getting a little thin, and I started getting worried, and I had this little trench warfare going on, the big puff here, and then it just kept going and going. And finally, one day, I said, hell with it, I'm just going to shave it, and I shaved it, and I've never looked back. It was the best decision I ever made. You guys that are out there worried about it, I watch these shows too, Shawn, where these guys will spend thousands of dollars to get the hair transplants. They have no self-esteem. They think they can't find a woman to date, won't like them because of it. Guys, shave your damn head. Just shave your head. Trust me, you'll be happy.
So yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned I remember the very early commercials because we had satellite TV. It was about the only TV we had. Otherwise, we would only had two channels. It would have been Farmer Vision only. But with the satellite, of course, we got everything that was in the sky. So whether it was a good TV channel or a mainstream TV channel, let's put it that way. So we saw everything, and I still remember on the Sci-Fi channel there would be commercials for Dianetics and then hair transplants.
Dianetics, right. How funny. And hair transplants.
That's like almost 40 years ago. So,
I wanted a hair transplant so bad until after I did it. Now I really, and it's funny too. Once it starts growing out a little bit, my wife will go, maybe you should let it grow. Nope, not going to do it. Nope.
No, like this bothers me, this length already.
I know what you mean.
It really takes away from just being able to live a normal life.
Exactly. And used to you'd put your toque on, you take it off, your hair's all messed up. Now, boom, no problem.
Well, my hair. You said you had curly hair. My brother got the nice curls. So my heritage in my background, for those of you that don't know, on my dad's side, it's completely Ukrainian. So you're gonna have, if you come, you're gonna get sausage and pierogies and all that good stuff. But on my mom's side, my grandfather is black, or was black, passed on since then, and Granny was Scottish. So you have a 4'11" little bitty lady that had red curly hair and the fire in the eyes to match, and you never crossed her, and she was probably the only person that could handle Grandpa, because he was ornery. But of course he had the hair, it was all curled. So when I was born, I got absolutely friggin' straight hair. If I let this grow, it's just gonna go. And, it would be like a black halo, would be the best way to describe it. And I only was ever in style with my hair once in the 80s, and that's when they had the spikes, because I could do that.
Oh, you were so lucky. Shawn, I wanted the spikes. Billy Idol came out. I wanted those spikes desperately, but mine were all curly. It wouldn't do it. It was like little curly stand-ups. It was
my brother got just the nice curls. And then my sister just has a wave in her hair. But
people with the straight hair, you think the curls are nice. We hate them. It's funny. Each side hates the other.
Listen, okay, funny story. Nobody's gonna laugh at this though, because it hurts.
It hurts.
Last time I had curly hair, my grandmother burned my hair and burnt it to the point that it was actually so brittle it started falling out.
Oh no!
That was in university. So
wow,
not gonna get girls that way.
Got it where you took.
So pretty much where I had after that for a while.
So just don't be the guy that does come those last three strands over. A lot of advantages to being bald. You guys are lucky. You guys are lucky you don't have a face and mouth full of hair when it's windy. LOL. Sounds like a personal problem, Becca. Anyway. My history. So, I was into hypnosis and weird stuff all the way back. I don't even understand people that take a long shower. What is the deal with those long showers? It takes me like 5 minutes. I don't get that. I was reading, in fact, I would read books on, in that whole section. So those herbs, I was really into, like, 17 years old, I'm reading books on Chinese, Oriental medicine, things like that. I remember I really got turned off to the Oriental medicine when I came across the urine drinking. It's supposed to be good for health. A prepubescent boy is supposed to be the best urine you can get your hands on. And that was weird. I was like, I don't think this is the kind of road I want to go down. But then, now I've seen in other places, urine therapy, they call it. You drink your own urine. I don't know. Sounds pretty disgusting. You have to do quite a lot of good things for you to want to be able to do that. At least it's your own. You're not chasing the neighbor kid down to pee in a cup for you. Becca says, ha ha. We make so many jokes here. I have no idea what jokes she was talking about because we're extremely funny on this show. We will get to the hypnosis soon if you're tuning in for the first time. This is Hypnosis Hero. I'm your host, Jim Kellner. I'm joined by the lovely, the wonderful, the splendid Shawn Kostiuk, fellow hypnotist, hypnotherapist, comedy hypnotist. I believe he does a little bit of magic too, don't you, Shawn?
I don't. My fingers don't work quite that fast.
Yeah, that's why you can't get a date.
They need to be trained.
You'll get more dates that way, Shawn. Anyway, moving on. Magic and ladies, they're gonna love that. All right, so I was always in that weird stuff, and when I was about 17, I checked out a book from the library, and I can remember it distinctly. We're sitting there. My mom had an apartment there in Atwater, California. I'm sitting. I got my younger sister. She was 14, 15 at the time. I'm having her stare at a candle, and I'm reading this book. That's right. Your eyes are getting heavy. They're getting heavier. And that was my first attempt at hypnosis. Then I took a self-hypnosis class. I was about 21. Shawn, I'll tell you what. I would have been a hypnotist far sooner had I been internet savvy. And if it had been around back in the 80s, when did it really come around? I guess it was around the early 90s. I guess.
Yeah, in the early 90s was when it took off. Yeah, I still remember the first PC that we owned. We paid about I think it was about $12,000 for it, and it was I actually had that machine all the way through university. So
yeah. So I guess I just didn't really know how to use it because I think I would have gotten involved in more things like that if I'd have been more internet savvy. I mean, today I can see just whatever you want, you can find it pretty easily. But it wasn't until and then I actually quit smoking with it once. I went to a big seminar. I quit smoking. And then it was around 2000. I went and got trained after I went to massage school. Got trained. And I still was kind of on the fence about it. I was going to open an office, but couldn't find the right location. And I had all these obstacles I let get in the way. And then finally, about 15 years ago, I was close to 300 pounds, and I was working about 15 hours a week. It was right after the bubble burst, and I got laid off from my teaching hypnosis job, which actually was a pretty damn good job. It was great benefits, great pay. Anyway, but it turned out to be a good thing in the long run. And I really just let myself get into this big funk, and then I started listening to Paul McKenna recordings, and which I should send Paul some money because I actually downloaded them on Emule. Do you remember? Yeah, it was Emule. Yeah.
There were a few ways to get at the resources, even if they thought they had them well hidden.
Yeah. So now when I find out, when I think about people pirating my stuff, I'm like, I've done it, so whatever. So I was listening to a few of his recordings, and the bad thing is I wish I could find them again because they worked wonders. It was amazing. But then I also started doing my own recordings, and so they'd be more specific. And I just started keeping track of what I was doing as far as exercise and eating well. And I tell you what, man, within just a few months, the weight started falling off. I started feeling better. I started feeling more motivated. And then I got a job in a clinic doing hypnotherapy. So I started off my first job, Shawn. I was seeing anywhere from 20 to 30 clients a week. And it was crazy, man. It was really the McDonald's of hypnosis. I was just one after another. And and then after a couple of years of that, I went out on my own and failed miserably the first couple of years, and had to go do a lot of jobs I didn't want to do. And then finally things started coming together.
Yep. No, it's not failure. It's learning.
It is learning. Yeah. What I learned was I couldn't just sit in my office and hope that people would call, which was what I was doing. Way too much of that. Just and then I wasn't. Here. And this is one of the things that I came across finally. Back when I got started, there really wasn't anything for hypnotists. Jason's podcast, Work Smart Hypnosis, came out a few years later and started offering some pretty good tips on how to do it. But I couldn't find anything online or anywhere on getting on how to market for hypnotists. So I was watching all these YouTube videos on marketing for chiropractors and dentists and stuff, and the best thing that I came across really was this woman who she said, she broke it down. She said, the question was, how much time should I spend on marketing? And she said, decide on how many hours you want to work in a week, how many clients you want to see, and then however many clients you're not seeing, that's the time that you spend on marketing. And so if I want to see 20 clients a week, if I don't have any clients that week, that means I'm spending 20 hours on marketing. So it's writing blogs, doing videos, whatever you do for your marketing. Yeah. And that made me understand. And then I started listening. There's this podcast called the Onion Juice podcast, I think it is. A real estate agent friend of mine turned me onto it. I only listened to a few episodes, and it's really about marketing for real estate agents, but it was applicable to any entrepreneur. And the one thing that I remember him saying was in that podcast is, stop thinking of yourself as a real estate agent. You are now you're a marketing company that does real estate. And that's where I look at myself now. I'm a marketing company that does hypnotherapy, that does comedy hypnosis, that does teaching and that kind of stuff.
So if you've ever watched the story of Ray Kroc, whether it was the movie or actually know his story, when he first bought into the McDonald's chain and then eventually took it national, international, and then everywhere else in the world that he could possibly get it, including Moscow, which is probably, I think, still the most expensive McDonald's to eat in. Which is surprising because you have 3 of them on Broadway in New York. But anyway, his story was very much like that. He was making his profit just, off of hamburgers. Yeah. Well, I can tell you the profit margin on a hamburger isn't that much.
Right.
And it took his accountants to point out to him, no, you're not that. You're the real estate agent. You own the real estate. The people that buy into your franchise, they either buy the real estate or lease it from you, and you charge a royalty for all the marketing and everything that the national company does. And he would sit around with university students and marketing students and MBA guys, and he'd ask them, what do I do? And they'd all say, oh, well, you sell hamburgers. No, I'm in real estate. And if you look at just in terms of the real estate, you will find that there are 3 very large corporations around the world that own real estate. Number 1 is the Catholic Church. Number 2 is McDonald's. And number 3 is the Crown. British Crown. Wow. So that's how much real estate McDonald's owns, and valuable real estate.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I have a saying, the thing is not the thing. And so when you're thinking like in the burger business, the burger is not the thing. It's
no.
Yeah.
No, the thing is you can get that same burger in 5,000 locations in North America.
Right.
Probably more, 10,000 locations in North America. Yeah. Because I know there's at least 5,500 stores, I think, in Canada now. But when you think about it, when we're at Hypnothoughts, I know that I can walk across from the Sahara. I think there's a McDonald's across there, and get the same Big Mac or the same, McDouble that I would get here.
Well, and that's the reason I go to Starbucks more than I like it. I don't think they have the best coffee, But
They have consistent coffee.
it's consistent coffee. And sometimes you find one of these little stands that makes great coffee, but so often, either it's not strong. They don't put enough, shots in it. They put too many shots in it. The coffee they use sucks. There's just you just never know what you're going to get. And like I said, sometimes it's great, and sometimes I could take a chance, but so often it's like, but you go to Starbucks, you're always going to get the same thing every time.
Venti caramel macchiato extra hot. I say that out loud.
Big manly drink there. That's right.
Gotta love it.
Extra whip?
No, just straight up. It just has to be extra hot because, I actually like to drink hot coffee. So,
all right.
And it's not that it isn't hot the first time, but the extra hot I think it brings out better flavor.
Gotcha.
So, Becca's asking a question.
She wants to know about why do we dream, Shawn? Do you know the answer?
Why do we dream?
Stacy, Stacy, so nice to see you pop on.
Hey, it's Stacy. I haven't seen Stacy since Hypnothoughts.
I see Stacy. Well, not frequently, but I don't know. Stacy, are you going to lunch on Saturday? It's a long drive for you, I know. She's here in the Pacific Northwest. She's also one of the volunteers for the Pacific Northwest Hypnosis Conference, which we should drop a link for. Let me do that right now. If you want to come out to a cool conference, Anthony Gitch and I have put together this conference here in the Pacific Northwest, and Stacy has done a fantastic job of getting things done for us for the conference, really helping out a lot. Now Becca wants McDonald's.
See, Becca, you're gonna dream about McDonald's tonight.
Yes, we are still live, Susan. We are still.
Not only are we still live, Susan, we're still alive, and we're staying alive.
Dun, 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 dun. So, Shawn, do you know the answer? Why do we dream?
Why do we dream?
Yeah.
Because we can.
Because we can.
Not everybody. Well, two things. Not everybody dreams in color. I found this out working with a client that had some exceptionally. I'm not even going to go into the details, but they were exceptionally bad nightmares. Yeah, see, hot temperature. That's what you need. Anyway, she had exceptionally bad nightmares to the point that since she was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, which I'm assuming was the initial traumatizing event when it happened to her, but never ever had a full night's sleep and would regularly wake up and absolutely wallop her husband.
Damn.
Yeah. And to the point that at times he would just go sleep on the couch because it was safer for her.
With a gun under his pillow?
Yeah. Well, maybe, and you know me, I'm a Star Trek guy. They were Trek fans, but they loved Star Wars even more. They had all kinds of paraphernalia. So I said, well, if you're dreaming in Technicolor and you're hitting people, maybe that's just a violence thing. Maybe it's part of the rebellion. So, but when I did help her, because she was such a strong visualizer, I just had her actually take that whole scene, whatever it was that would come up as a dream, and just paint it black.
Cool.
And so, because she was an artist, she understood. And I said, I had her grab the paintbrush and she painted everything black. And I said, okay, is it all black? Yeah. I said, okay, when you go to bed, that's what's going to happen. That black is just going to blot everything out. Your mind is going to take a rest and let you actually sleep. I get a note the next day. Oh my God, that was the first time in 30 years that I have slept through the entire night and not beat my husband.
That's great, buddy.
So he was eternally grateful too. So
I bet. Yeah. No kidding.
But why do we dream? The brain needs its rest. Dreaming does help us to a certain extent get that rest until things take a turn for the worse like that. Because then you're not dreaming. Now something is taking control of that and turned it to something that keeps driving your mind forward. And anxiety will do that. Fear will do that. Those types of things that you want to avoid. You want to call Jim or Shawn or another hypnotist, Susan. or Lisa, somebody that can help you deal with that fear, that anxiety, get those dreams back to something nice and pleasant. And a good dream is something that will actually help your brain detox, do the things it needs to do overnight, all the processes to kind of clean out the junk and move you along. Some people don't dream as much as others. I know I'm not usually one for dreaming. If I do have a dream, it's usually once every 2 or 3 months. Or if I'm dreaming, I know that I've got some kind of stress I need to deal with right away.
Gotcha. Susan says she dreams a lot, and she also says, Shawn, our captain. Lucid dream. You ever had a lucid dream, Shawn?
No, not that I recall.
I've had some pretty good ones, and and it reminds me, I go through these periods where I'm like, I want to practice that. Are you a lucid dreamer, Becca? And I've tried to get there. I've had some that were where I was aware, and I think that's the definition of a lucid dream, right? Where you're aware of that it's a dream. And I have had some of those where and it's really interesting, and it's oftentimes during like a nightmare, and I'm able to go, no, all I have to do is wake up, and I can wake up. But here's the thing: you talk about nightmares. This is why visualization is so powerful, because like when I think most of us use some kind of guided imagery, visualization, imagination in our work, and it is powerful. And we oftentimes say, the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're imagining. And if you have trouble believing that, just think about a nightmare or a scary movie. I mean, when you're watching a scary movie, there is no danger. You're sitting there in your home, you're watching Jaws, there's no sharks anywhere near you.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to mention Jaws. Damn you.
Dude, me too. I will not go in the ocean. If it wasn't for Jaws,
Saskatchewan, there is no ocean for 2 provinces in any direction. Dude, but when we watched Jaws, I think I was like 9 or something like that, and I was at my cousin's. We were visiting their place, and we didn't have beds, so we actually had to sleep on the floor. And if you didn't think that we weren't checking around to make sure there wasn't a fin coming around, and then who made it worse was Carol Burnett.
Oh,
and Joel's. She had the comedy skit where it was the shark was in the sewer system, and it would come up and get you from the toilet.
Right.
So, oh man,
that's funny. I will be in a swimming pool, and I'll start getting this weird anxiety that there's a shark in there, which is ridiculous. I'm not even in Florida where there could be an alligator. But it sucks because really, I think that I really would have been into like maybe scuba diving and all kinds of cool stuff, but no, I'm not going in the water. And, sharks have been known to attack in as little as 3 feet of water. So I'm in 2 feet, about it. Up to my ankles, I'm good. Other than that, I don't need to go in the ocean. Also, ocean's kind of a dangerous place anyway, even if there weren't sharks. I don't know what the obsession is with going out there. Weird. People go swimming out there. They just swim out, and I don't get it.
I think I read somewhere, and this would have been for Florida or that corner of the States. They estimated that 90% of the people that go swimming have been within 6 feet of a shark and just didn't know it.
Wow. Dude, you ever see, like you see those videos of like drones or helicopters flying over a beach, and you see sharks just basically swimming in between the swimmers and stuff? I mean, wow, it's just terrifying. And the swimmers have no idea. No idea.
Yeah. Crazy.
Scary. Great. Now I'm going to, here's a bad thing too. And TikTok and Instagram have figured this out. So, my feed, some people get hot chicks dancing. I get sharks and kitty cats. That's what my TikTok and Instagram is, sharks and kitty cats. And I can't stop watching.
I seem to get a lot of other hypnotists.
Oh, do you? All right.
Yeah, and street hypnosis is big in Europe and France apparently, because there's like 30 of them that are out there doing street hypnosis it seems like I get at least 4 of them 4 of them every day.
You know, I do see some of those French guys. I've seen a few of the French guys doing impressive work over there. They got some really interesting subjects.
Yeah.
Subjects that I think like Becca is probably like in person, like the eyes roll back and she's just out. So pretty cool. Shawn, we should probably get going with some hypnosis. You know what? Since we're talking about dreams, I wonder what it'd be like if we did one. Tell people have happy dreams or get rid of negative, scary dreams. What do you think?
That sounds like a good plan to me. I just want to say one more thing about Becca says she forgets most of her dreams. That I think that would be typical of most people. And when you're experiencing dreams, if it's in black and white, chances are you do tend to forget because that's most people. It's only a small percentage that'll dream in Technicolor.
Becca, do you get the lucid dreams? I'm curious. I do. You know, it's like I forget about it, and then I go, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to try that. You know, I think Shawn would be awesome if you could get really good at lucid dreaming. Think about this: guiding your dreams towards the things you want more in your life. You know, towards success. I mean, I think that could be just a great way to kind of just work the programming. You know, jump in there, dream that you're, you know, living in the beach house, but you never go in the ocean or anything, of course. But that kind of stuff.
I would agree. I mean, you know, you talked about it before that our ability to visualize things, and the people that have that innate ability to really do it well.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit envious sometimes of the people who can visualize like that. Like that client that I was just talking about. You know, I said, you know, if I said pink, purple, polka dotted giraffe, tell me what you see in your mind. And she had a whole jungle scene with blue leaves and green trees and yellow sky and an orangish sun and and like she had it all laid out with and other animals. And I said, wow, okay. You know, that I never would have got that. If I would have got pink, purple, polka dotted giraffe, that would have been it. So, you know, I'm the history teacher that would draw stick people. That was it. You know, and I had to teach art too. So, art for grade 9 and grade 12. Fortunately, the curriculum had a nice big media literacy section, so we watched movies. And yeah, you know, talk about getting into fights with students. You don't ever want to do that. But, you know, you want to challenge students and, you know, make them think a little bit. And of course, some of the movies we watched, Star Trek First Contact. Of course, we're going to watch Star Trek. It's my class, damn it. Next series of movies and then watch Star Wars. And so I made them. It wasn't a mistake. I did it on purpose. This is going to make some of you mad. I'm telling you now. Disclaimer, as Mike Mandel would say. Star Wars is not science fiction.
Oh.
Star Wars is science fantasy. Because you can take that and you can drop it into a medieval setting, a medieval world, and with the very, very few changes, you maintain the entire storyline. You can't do that with Star Trek. And I had one student that just took issue with that. Oh, she was mad. Grade 9 student even. Like, just absolutely, there's just no, and she would argue. And so for her final test, you remember the full scap that we used to get for teachers would give us, and it was like an 8.5 by 14 lined on both sides. She wrote for art class, this is art, a 10-page essay on trying to convince me one last time that it was all science fiction.
Funny.
Oh, she was hopping mad, but yeah.
I'll let you guys duke it out. I have no opinion on that. So Becca says she used to love the ocean because she thought she was a mermaid. I don't know what the deal is with chicks and being mermaids. It's kind of a weird thing. And now they all, not all of them, a lot of them have like the stuff they can wear to become a mermaid. It's baffling. So now Becca says, I'm reading these out. So if you're listening later on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. Hey, by the way, if you're watching, listening, please do all the stuff. Please share this right now while you're thinking about it. Go ahead and share it right now, whether you're watching live or later. share it to your page, share it somewhere. Like it, love it, comment, all those good things. Give us a rating. The ocean does scare me a bit, Becca says, more just because it's so big and so deep. Exactly. It's that unknown that scares us, and probably from watching Jaws, like you said. Look, if you're in the water, man, you're out of your element. You know, I mean, look, sure, if a bear attacks me, I'm gonna die, but at least I feel like I have a bit of a chance. In the water, we got nothing. You know, we just got nothing. Even our fists just they move slowly in the water, and it's just a bad deal. Shawn, you can get better at visualization. Everybody out there, you can get better at it, and I know because I have. And I also want to just have you ever read Psycho Cybernetics, Shawn? You've seen this?
Nope.
Everybody, guys, this is a book I highly recommend it. Maxwell Maltz. It's from the 60s. The guy was a plastic surgeon. And what he did is what he would find is he'd do a nose job on somebody. They come back in a couple months, their nose looks perfect, and they're still like, yeah, but I still feel self-conscious. I still don't have any confidence, all these kind of things, or takes off a scar, same thing. In this book, this is his, I mean, it's like a big fat book kind of, but so much of it is about just visualizing, imagining what you want. And it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's kind of like you're drawing your blueprint. You know, nobody makes a house without a blueprint. I tried to build a fort for my kid when he was 12, and I wish I'd have drawn the blueprint because it just sucked. Had no written plans at all, and it really I was just up here, and it was terrible. But really, just a fantastic book. Highly recommend it to everybody. It's old, so it's got kind of weird language in it and stuff, but I mean, it's funny how language changes, like even just in half a century. So really great book. And this is what I was going to tell you too. So Neville Goddard, really big on the law of assumption, I believe it is, instead of a law of attraction. He talks a lot about visualization also. And what he talks about, a couple of things, is you like go in a room, you look around, you go to another room, and then you try to visualize everything that was in that room. I also believe that he was the one that said, just try to imagine an apple. And so that's what I was doing. And as I imagine myself holding this apple, Shawn, and over time, those details, like you talked about with your client, you know, the jungle and all this shows up. At first, it was just kind of a red blob, but then pretty soon it starts to get, there's like a little shiny spot. There's a bruise over here. There's a green spot. It's really kind of incredible how you can kind of train yourself to get better at it. So
yeah, you know, and the silly thing is, and silly for me, is the last number of clients that I've worked with, I've actually walked them through. Okay, let's take a walk into your future, and we're gonna walk down this path, and on that rock there is a message. What's the message? And you start pulling these things out and weaving together a larger vision of what they actually want for their future. And then you work to integrate that in with them and let them loose on society, for lack of a better term, right? You just let them loose and let them go out and make it happen. So,
yeah, I love future pacing. I love that visualization, future. I call it imagineering. That's what I do. I'm doing imagineering, but I'm getting better at it. You know, it is a little bit vague at first, but some of the details start to get in. In fact, I just saw the other day when I was doing an imagination of my future home, and I saw myself pulling up. I saw the exact outfit I was going to be wearing and everything. It's kind of cool. And this is what I noticed too. And so this isn't just for Shawn, this is for everybody who's watching. I found this really interesting, Shawn, because so in the book, he talks a lot about, you know, seeing your future, creating your future by seeing it. And then if you, even if you read like the Think and Grow Rich and like all these other books from the past, so many of them talk about seeing it, you know, really rehearsing it in your mind, what you want to get. And I just found it so interesting. Now I kind of lost my train of thought there. What was I going to say? I don't know. This is what it was. So I was able to, as I was driving down I-5, driving south from Shoreline where I live into Seattle, I was able to see right there, like a waking dream, the Pacific Ocean and me in the car I'm going to be driving. And I could see it over there. And Shawn, I got the feeling. And I think that's the most important part. I got that feeling of being there in that vehicle, seeing that. And this is what occurred to me. I said to myself, if I can have that feeling, why do I even need that car and that experience?
It changes your target, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It makes you go, wow, maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing. Focus on the emotion. And then Victoria, and I was telling this to Victoria during her podcast, what I co-host for, the Power of Your Mind. And what she was talking about was, you get the emotion, and that emotion is on that same vibe, and then you get the thing. So I found it really interesting. And then Joe Baber says, am I the only one seeing a blank screen? I hope not. I mean, I hope so. I don't really know what people are seeing. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people, I don't know.
I find Facebook, if any one of them is going to freeze up, it'll be Facebook. YouTube seems to be a little bit more stable when it comes to showing that, and so Joe, try refreshing your web browser and see if that gets you back in.
Good idea. Oh, I had one more thing before we really got to start on the hypnosis.
I know.
I can't believe we've already been talking for over an hour. I thought it was going to be a short show. I got to show you guys something. Check this out. This is what I did. So I was spending far too much time on my phone, and here's the thing, Shawn, is I justify it because I'm like, well, I do all my work on my phone, right? I check my email, I respond to email, I make videos, do content, all that. But really, I'm also spending a lot of time just watching, TikTok videos of sharks and kitty cats and a few hot chicks. I shouldn't say chicks, attractive women.
I thought you were maybe talking about chickens.
That's what I was talking about. Of course, I would never be disrespectful. And so I came up, what I did, one of the great things about when I was watching the TikTok is this guy talked about, it's the, one of the reasons we get the big dopamine hit is because of all the colors. We don't normally see all these beautiful colors in nature unless it's like a beautiful red berry, right? Or something like that. And so it makes it really attractive to us, and boom. And so he recommended you turn it black and white. And I got to tell you, since I turned it black and white, my screen time has gone down so much because it's just not as fun. It's not as interesting to look at. I used to, every stoplight, I'd be tapping on something. Well, check my mail, check my Facebook. Now I'm like, I keep it in my pocket. I don't even care.
I actually think I look better in black and white.
Do you?
Becca's got a question here, and it's actually a really good one. Good lead in here. Are people who used to have imaginary friends as a kid, are they good subjects for hypnosis? Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And here's why. It goes back to that ability to visualize, but your ability to create. And I'm sorry to say this as a teacher, I really am. But if you look at students that are in like pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, grade 1, 2, even grade 3, their creativity is off the charts. And if they don't know, they'll just they'll just have a go at it and figure it out for themselves. By the time you hit grade 9, 10, 11, 12, you're starting to see students that have been through the system. Just tell me what I need to know. I don't care anymore. Kind of checking out. And it's as a teacher, it's the absolute worst feeling in the world when you see that. Because I also see that sometimes in other teachers as well. And you know what? I'm going to do the same thing for 30 years. And, that's just the way it's going to be. And you just, I figured that I actually said out loud to a number of people now that if I ever come across teachers that don't want to learn and don't want to keep current with the technology, I'm just giving them a stone hammer and a chisel. Like, hell with this. Give me your laptop back. This is cheaper, and we'll give it to somebody who's actually going to use it. It's just absolute bonkers. Thanks, Becca. At least somebody thinks I'm pretty.
Damn right. Right.
Anyway,
Scott does too. So
bless you. the ability to create though is super huge, and if you retain that, if I often talk about people that have way better artistic skills than I do. Stick people versus the Mona Lisa, for example.
Yeah.
Or if you're a musician, if you have any kind of artistic bent, any kind of creative bent, even if it's, it could be construction and carpentry. If you're an architect, you're talking about doing the blueprints. If you're somebody who can do that, you are so much further down the road of being hypnotizable than logical, analytical people are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Much harder for them. Shawn, let's get started. I'm actually, let's try to keep to about 15, 20 minutes. We haven't done a collaborative hypnosis in a while, so let's do a collaborative one. Would you mind getting us started with the induction? We'll do the pen raise. When you're ready to pass it, pass the mic. Just
okay, but I have a pencil. Is that a problem? Because I can get a pen.
Damn it, Shawn. I'm going to use my imagination to imagine that it's a pen, so it's no problem for me. But while you get us started, I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go use the little boys' room. So I'll be right back. You go ahead and get us started, Shawn.
Yep. If you got our disclaimer at the bottom.
Yep. Let's get that going. Hold on.
So for those of you that are listening later on Anchor, disclaimer: don't be doing this while you are operating a vehicle, moving around, using a knife, shooting a gun, anything that's remotely dangerous.
Okay, the warning is up. I'll be right back.
Okay, so we often talk about hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So we will start out simply by taking in a nice deep breath. And I'm going to get you to take in another nice deep breath. And as you exhale, just allow your eyes to close and allow relaxation to flow from the top of your head all the way to the bottom of your feet. And as you continue taking in nice deep breaths and listening to my voice, what you'll find is that relaxation doubles, triples, quadruples. You get more and more relaxed with every word that I speak. With each breath that you take, notice that when you exhale, you become even more relaxed. And that relaxation, like I said, flows from the top of your head all the way down through your shoulders. It relaxes your neck muscles, relaxes your arms. It flows through your torso, all the way down through your legs and to your feet. And as you continue relaxing more and more, you just continue breathing deeply, relaxing. And I'm going to count backwards from 10. And with each count, just continue relaxing as we move from 10 down to 9. And from 9, doubling that relaxation as we move down to 8. And from 8, again moving down to 7. And from 7, down to 6. As you continue relaxing at 5, just know that you can allow that relaxation to be 5 times more than it was before. As we move down to 4. And then 3, tripling that relaxation. 2, 1, taking in a nice deep breath and going 10 times deeper as we move all the way down to 0.
That's right. And you could continue to go even deeper into hypnosis, into relaxation with every breath that you take. You may even find that every word that we utter guides you even deeper and further into that warm and wonderful state of total, complete relaxation. Good. That's right. And there's a time that you may find that it's interesting to just imagine the possibility that each and every time that you go into that dream state, whether you're sleeping at night or taking a nap during the day or even just having a daydream, you may find that you're starting to get more control over your dreams. And that could begin by just asking yourself, what would it be like if I could become aware in my dreams? What if I could take control in my dreams? And perhaps that inner guidance system begins to guide you and direct you and help you to understand that you truly are in control at all times, physically, mentally, emotionally. And you're able to guide your thoughts, your dreams in any way that you see fit. It might be interesting to begin to imagine more color, more detail, as you dream about those things that you want to see more of in your life.
And as you see more, know that there is still more to see. And in seeing more and comprehending more and controlling more, you're able to build a complete vision for your future. And know that that inner guidance system, that vision, is something that you can make come to pass. Knowing that it may require some changes in the things that you do, things that you say, and knowing that that vision and attaining that vision is something ultimately that will be good for you, because you've created the positive future that you desire.
And even as your vision becomes more clear, as you see more details, more color than ever before, perhaps you're beginning to hear more things as well. Perhaps there's a crystal clarity that comes to you now as you begin to hear things moving into place, clicking into place, so to speak. Perhaps you hear the words of friends and family and even yourself telling you how proud you are, how proud they are of what you're accomplishing. Maybe you're starting to even feel more intensely. In fact, maybe you're even starting to feel surprised at just how easy it is now to guide your dreams, just like you're guiding your waking life. And you find that you have more control than ever in your dreams and in your daily life. seeing, hearing, feeling, and even your intuition becoming more solidified, more apparent. As you intuit more deeply, as you can feel these things happening, perhaps even smelling and tasting, all of those wonderful things. Perhaps for some of us, it's tasting those wonderful, healthy foods. Perhaps some of us, it's smelling that cool, salty ocean air by that oceanside home that we're building in our mind. Perhaps we're seeing that handshake from that boss giving us the promotion. Hearing some kind words from our friends and spouse as they congratulate us on that new accomplishment. So many things are falling into place now. Finding that you have more control than ever before. Only as much control as you want, as you need, right here, right now.
And that vision is for now. You can build it, experience it, and use it today. You can use it anytime you want. You can do all the things that you want to do because it is your vision. And watch the results. Watch the positivity. Watch the gratitude. Watch the benefits of directing your own life. Just accumulate and multiply for you. Simply allowing yourself to dream.
And so you feel that a deep sense of gratitude as you're watching, listening, feeling, intuiting those things coming into your life, more of what you want and less of what you don't want. And you're finding now in your daily life, as you're beginning to make your journey back to an awakened state, or perhaps going into a deeper state of sleep, you begin to realize that every time now in your waking state that you touch a door handle, you're reminded to ask yourself, am I dreaming? Finding also in your dreams, every time that you touch a doorknob, you're asking yourself, am I dreaming? And so when you find that you are dreaming, and really, when are you dreaming? Are you dreaming at night while you sleep, or are you in a daydream as you walk through your normal activities? Are you just as in control during the day as you are at night, and at night and day? Things can happen outside of awareness, and sometimes we know what we know, and at other times we're simply unaware of those things that we simply don't know. But what you can know is that you can exercise more control in your dreams and in your waking state. And the two could begin to merge as you find that that dream life you're creating becomes your actual real life. The car that you want, the house that you want, the relationships that you want. That feeling of contributing to the world in whatever way that you want to contribute. Stacks of money, or just smiling faces of friends, family, and people that you're helping. It's all becoming easier now. So much easier that you're focused and letting go. Letting go of everything that does not serve you. And just guiding yourself back to this entire session, becoming aware of anything that was especially helpful and grasping onto it. Anything that didn't seem quite right, just imagine erasing it away now, knowing that you can always bring it back in at a later state if it's helpful later. Good, that's right. And then go all the way back to the beginning and just become aware if there was anything at all that you might have needed to see or hear or feel or intuit that would have made this an even more powerful, more effective session for you. And if there is, imagine it happening right here, right now. So that this session right here, right now, is the most powerful, most effective session it could possibly be. Taking all of this that you want with you as Shawn guides you back to your normal state or into a deeper state of sleep, whichever you prefer.
And as we allow all of this to solidify inside of us, knowing that we can take in a really nice, deep, cleansing breath. Breathing that in and then exhaling. And as we count from 1 to 5, we'll bring you back into the room. Starting with 1, at 2, taking in another nice deep breath, feeling that energy returning at 3, opening your eyes at 4, and at 5, being back in the room. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. Please comment what you experienced. If you didn't experience anything, that's fine. Or experienced something really profound, let us know. And again, you can always comment during the live on Friday nights, or you can comment later. I always go back and check those. And we do oftentimes get people commenting later on. You know, we got another comment on Wendy's podcast. Somebody watched it and was really impressed. Really, such a great guest, Wendy Friesen.
That was a really great session.
Yeah.
That one.
Just a great interviewee. I tell you, really, just fantastic. Mark Barris, you know, great guy. Thank you, Mark, for tuning in. Your support as always. Mark helps people with their business, with their social media. If you're a hypnotist or somebody else, look him up. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. That seemed to flow really well. I like that.
Yep, and this will be one that I conveniently borrow from YouTube.
Same here. I was remembering one of the things that I couldn't remember the whole thing, but something about when you're trying to get better at lucid dreaming is something about door handles. Every time you touch a door handle, you ask yourself if you're dreaming or something like that. Brian, hello, sir. Past midnight, so you're going to bed. Thank you so much, Brian. Hope to see you at Michigan conference again. Mark Barris, great guy. I think Mark's going to be at HypnoThoughts again this year. Hopefully he's going to stay a little bit longer than just the afternoon like he did last time. Any other conferences that you're going to this year, Shawn?
You know what? With me being a full-time digital learning consultant slash whatever hat that the division has handed me, I tend to wear it. So our school year runs September 1 until or right after the Labor Day weekend, all the way until June 30th. So for me to get out, unless the conference actually coincides with our break in Christmas, February, or Easter.
Yeah.
We don't tend to let people take off all that much. It's kind of a thing. If you're going to learn, you kind of need to be there and put in the time.
When in February are you off?
Our February break, we have a holiday family day. It's the third Monday.
Damn it.
And then we have the rest of that week off. So
too bad it's not the first weekend. I guess you'll be doing the summit from online again, not with us in Vegas.
Possibly. I do get some EDOs and I have thought about it. How do I get down there and back without losing any of my paychecks? So
yeah.
There are always possibilities. So
excellent.
Looks like Becca had a good time.
Yeah. Still feeling drifty, so probably going to sleep now. Becca, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's awfully early in the morning for you. You did ask about Brian. Brian had a prior commitment tonight. He just couldn't make it. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't anything terrible. So he'll be back next Friday. So will Benito Garcia. Shawn, I'm really excited to bring Benito on. Folks, this guy he's really a hustler. He's out doing street hypnosis just about every weekend. He lives down in Phoenix, so you can do that pretty much year-round there, which is really helpful. He's also a magician, stage hypnotist, comedy stage hypnotist for Colin, so he doesn't come after me. And he's a hypnotherapist, so I'm really looking forward to talking with him. Shawn, it's been great. We lost Shawn's microphone.
There we go. How about that? Yeah, definitely we'll do this again. It doesn't matter how many of us are here hosting. Everybody's got something to contribute, and just because it was just the two awesome bald guys, you got the best of the best.
You really did. You really got the best of the best. Mark says Benito is awesome. Indeed, he is. Thank you, everyone. You are all awesome for tuning in. Looks like we had a lot of people watching live, and you always go back and I think Wendy's up to 200 or 300 views. My friend Shawn, my good friend Shawn, whose last name I can't remember at the moment. Seriously, this is crazy. I see him every 2 or 3 times a month. Shawn, all I can think of is Kostiuk right now because of you, Shawn. Summers. Shawn Summers, very easy one. I was like, it's an easy one. You should be able to remember this. He did the. Were you on that episode, Shawn, when he did the? Oh, good Lord! What is the induction he did? Not Elman, the other one. A great story. Anyway, he does. It's a really deep induction, and we got a lot of views on that one. Really, that was a very popular one. We've even got some comments on that one. People really love that one. If you're ever having trouble sleeping, go find that one. It was Shawn Summers. That was when it was called Get Hypnotized. It was Friday Night Live. Go watch it. It was a great episode. Shawn, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be anywhere else.
I will see you next Friday, if not sooner. Thank you all for watching. Please tell your friends, tell your family, tell your friends, your lovers, everyone. Tune in every Friday night on Hypnosis Hero. Got a couple more comments here. Stacy Lope, that was great. Thanks for the session. Excited to see what dreams await. Indeed. Becca, yes, can't wait to see Brian again. It will be good to see Ben next week too. Night, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please go download the Hypnosis Hero app. Go check out Shawn at skhypnosis.com, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Good man. And I'm Jim Kellner. This is Shawn Kostiuk. Good night, everybody. Take care. Be well. Be awesome.
Good night.
Which one is it?